What's going on there, guys? Earthmaster here, checking in on the live stream. And what's going on? It's Friday, February 19th, 2021 is the date today, 3:40 p.m. West Coast time. And a little bit of earthquake activity to discuss out here. And quite a bit of geomagnetic storming or discussion coming up as well. They've upgraded the arrival of the storm to include tonight. You can see the aurora forecast darkening up there and getting wider, indicating that the KP indexes have raised and the solar wind event is upon us and should increase here through tonight and also tomorrow night as well. So we'll see how big of a deal that gets. Looks like about 50% still for the higher latitudes, with only a 15% there on the mid latitudes. But we'll see what happens. Earthquake activity around the globe today. Pretty good sized quake out there in the Oklahoma area, Oklahoma, Kansas region. Just on the Oklahoma side, of course. 4.2 earthquake striking up quite a few folks out there in that beautiful state of Oklahoma. It is one of my favorite states to chase weather out there in the region. Beautiful area. We'll go ahead and check that out real quick before we get into the solar weather information. There's that 4.2 striking near, or at least 6 kilometers southwest of Manchester, Oklahoma. Almost right smack dab. You got to zoom in pretty close to see that it's actually on the Oklahoma side there, pretty close to the Kansas border. About 7 kilometers below surface, within the vicinity of Ponica City, Helena, Cherokee, 6 kilometers southwest of Manchester, Oklahoma. So yeah, quite a few folks did report feeling it. It's a pretty good sized quake. You can see the significance of the numbers there. All over the place, all over Oklahoma City, up into the north around Wichita, and points beyond. I think some folks even reported feeling a little bit of shaking there in northern Texas as well. Just light shaking. Looks like a couple folks reported some moderate to strong shaking, but the majority of the shakes there, the reports indicating just some very light shaking from that 4.2. And of course, the did you feel it responses here indicating the locations. Quite a few pages, 1 through 10 of 375 reports here. Quite a few. We'll go ahead and add 100 more on there. Quite a few reports around, obviously, Kansas, Oklahoma region, and into parts of Texas as well. But yeah, all over the place, folks. If you did feel this earthquake, I'm kind of wanting to know for scientific data what it may have felt like. Of course, Oklahoma does see some earthquakes out there. And I think one of the reasons being, well, let's go ahead and check that out real quick. Let's go ahead and grab some information from this earthquake that struck earlier today. Here is the coordinates of that 4.2. We're going to take that and smack it right down into the Google Earth program, which I have keyed up right here. We can see exactly what's going on out there in the state of Oklahoma. Of course, the pin indicating that description, or that, the coordinates of that 4.2. That's the exact epicenter there in Oklahoma. Of course, a couple farmhouses up here to the north. I'm sure those folks felt it. Hey, if you're watching this channel and you live in that house, let me know what it felt like. Kind of curious to see if it was a rolling motion, a jolt motion, or just, was there any type of noise associated with it? As we back out here, folks, what do you see? What do you guys see out there on the picture? Those are not all farmhouses. About the only farmhouse in this region is that specific farmhouse that sits out here in this region. But as we zoom out, the bigger picture paints what's really out here, and we got a tremendous amount of pumping operations, fracking operations all over the place in this vicinity. You can see the tanks and whatnot, right? They all look the same. These are not farmhouses. These are probably, looks like maybe non-operational pump houses, fracking operations, but they've already done the deal there with Mother Nature. And as you back out, take a look at all of those, all over the place, folks, surrounding this 4.2 area. So no doubt the weaker area, the crustal areas in the surface here, definitely took a hit over the years and years of fracking and whatnot, and injection of well water. it does play a part, folks, in earthquakes. Is it a bad thing? I don't. It doesn't. These earthquakes don't really do enough damage to be considered bad, but they can get up there, and it can be annoying to quite a few folks out there. It's all over the place, folks. I mean, we can zoom in on any area. I've seen these firsthand all over the place in Oklahoma and all throughout Kansas when I'm out there storm chasing. Take a commercial flight over Oklahoma and Kansas, and you'll see what I mean. But you don't have to. You don't have to spend all that money. Type in, any satellite view will tell you and show you what's out here and what's being done. Wakita up there, beautiful area. That's where that tornado museum is from the movie Twister. It's a pretty awesome town if you want to go check out that museum. I was there a couple years ago. Very nice lady that runs that store. Right about, where's the water tower? Let's see. I don't want to get too far off track. The museum's somewhere right around this area, I believe. Water tower's back. I'm a little bit confused here, but within this vicinity is that museum that's got a lot of stuff from the movie from Twister, that movie that came out quite a few years ago. But anyway, it's a pretty cool area to visit. Go check it out. But I tell you what, there's definitely a lot of fracking operations out there. I mean, look at all these up here, all these little dots, folks. You guys see that? Let me make sure that you guys are seeing all those, right? They look like just little white areas, all these little areas right here, all those little squares, right? Those are not farmhouses. You zoom in, and they're pumping operations. It's very detailed. We can go in and definitely see what's going on there. These look like they're no longer active, but like I said, the tanks are still there, and the damage is done there to the earth. Now, getting back to, if it's a bad thing, well, I don't know. I don't like to bring my views on energy and stuff like that into the picture here on this channel, but it can be annoying to the folks that live out here. Of course, resources, right? We all need resources. There's different types of resources that everyone agrees on. Out here in Oklahoma, in the Texas region, very big on oil and natural gas and whatnot. So, it's just one of those things. It's going to happen further and further as we continue the pumping operations and whatnot throughout this area. It's just a fact. It's going to happen, and it's proven. You make weak crustal spots in the earth, right? You get this pressure in the North American plate keyed up against the old craton, the North American craton region, and you can get some earthquakes. This whole region right here, kind of up against the North American craton region, relatively it's a landmass, North American landmass area that has been relatively stable over the last, I don't know how many millions of years. Let's see here, North American craton map, not crayon, North American craton map. Here's another overview, and there's a bunch of different maps on it and whatnot. But this kind of just gives you a general idea of what it looks like, what it is. Continental crust that has remained relatively stable for the past 600 million years. So as you get, for example, over here, I don't want to go to, okay, this is on the Wikipedia, so we're good. As you go and look at the land over there, it's really flat out there in this region. Right, and of course you got the Rockies that stretch up here against this North American craton due to the pressure from the west here that kind of creates those mountains, right? What do you get when you get pressure? Well, you get earthquakes, you get uplift, you get volcanoes in the subduction area, all sorts of stuff. So Oklahoma kind of extends up here. It's on this map a little bit, just right about at the edge of the craton region. So yes, pressure, weak spot. If you make weak spots in the pressure in the crustal areas, and you continuously get pressure in the region here, and obviously there is, then of course we'll continue to see those small, moderate-sized, annoying earthquakes out there in Oklahoma and Kansas. It's just a given. It's going to happen. So the deformed craton is the Intermountain West region that pushes up against this relatively stable area of continental crust that has remained relatively stable, right? You get the Rocky Mountains and whatnot. You can see it cut right through Colorado and whatnot here. And then, of course, anything after, everyone knows, if you travel through Colorado area, once you get past the Rocky Mountains, Denver area, it's pretty much flat. You get some hills and stuff like that, but it's flat out there. You don't have that massive amount of pressure that's being applied up against this North American craton that creates the mountains and such. Also, the same down here through the Tennessee Valley and the New Madrid Fault System. This area is a very heightened area of earthquake activity and will be in the future. It has been in the past, but definitely will be in the future. So that's what the North American craton is. You know, a lot of people are wondering, what the heck is that? What is he talking about? It looks just like I mean, North American plate looks like, you know, it looks like that. You know, you really can't see the North American craton in this specific picture. But I guess a little bit you can. You know, the flatness out here. But and then of course west of Denver area you get that buildup of pressure, which kind of includes Yellowstone National Park. So yeah, that's just a little bit of info on the Craton region. Let's see what we got as far as aftershocks in this area of Oklahoma. It doesn't look like a whole lot. Of course, over the past day, there's been quakes all over the place, all over the state of Oklahoma. You know, not just up here to the north. It looks like maybe there was one small aftershock of a 2.0 following that 4.2 this morning by, I don't know, looks like half an hour. These range at about 7 kilometers below the surface, so it is what it is. Of course, you know, quite a my friends there on Facebook are in Oklahoma, so they were kind of discussing that a little bit, but I'd still like to hear what your feelings are on this. You know, maybe what do you guys think? You know, of course, I want to know if you felt the earthquake, but what do you guys think? You think fracking operations are no doubt causing weak crustal spots that collapse under pressure, or, you know, create earthquakes? I strongly believe so. California region, a lot of uptick on the Pacific side of this major plate boundary called the San Andreas Fault, along the San Jacinto Fault area, the secondary major plate stress releaser along the west coast out here. Seeing quite a bit of microquakes there. Not a whole lot of uptick on the Imperial Fault. A little uptick there in the Imperial Fault, but the Brawley seismic zone to the north, pretty quiet. These are all microquakes. No major swarm to report in Southern California. Same goes for the Ridgecrest area and Nevada. A couple small microquakes along the creeper section, right? San Francisco southward, the creeper section of the San Andreas Fault. A little earthquake up here around Chico, my neck of the woods, right smack dab. I don't know, maybe that's underneath my house. 2.1, let's see what's going on there. 13 kilometers downstream. Of course, we don't have any fracking operations out here. I mean, there's occasional well drilling. Where'd it go here? Not for sure what happened. But other than that, let's see. Let's go back, bring the all magnitudes there. What do we got here? Idaho. Not a whole lot to report there in Washington. Mount Rainier kind of calming down a little bit there from their little spitter spatter of swarming earthquakes. Yeah, overall pretty quiet up here in the Intermountain West of Idaho and up into Montana and Yellowstone as well. You can see on the Yellowstone seismograph station that this 4.2 that struck Oklahoma did show up rather nicely on the eastern part of the stations. That's that 4.2 right smack there, and it looks like it's kind of drawn out there for an extended amount of time. So I'm sure, you know, just guesstimating on some of these, the signatures there off of the Yellowstone station, looks like it was probably just a potentially a rolling type earthquake. But I'm kind of anxious to see what people report on this earthquake, if you will. It only takes a second to type in the comments, so kind of curious to see if you guys felt it, what it felt like. You know, was it a jolt? Did you hear any noise with it? All valuable information in the scientific community when it comes to describing the earthquakes that you feel out there. What else we got? Let's get off that. Not for sure what's going on with that. Rest of the world, Oklahoma. When did Oklahoma move up to the north? Speaking of that, I want to show you guys something real quick here. I think you guys can see a little bit better um, on the globe here. This is actually kind of cool. Maybe kids might like it. I don't know. Let's go back over here to the earthquake 3D globe here real quick and check out Hawaii. Right, the Hawaii Islands. I think I mentioned it a time or two before. We don't want to turn the world upside down. It's already upside down enough, but you got Hawaii, and it's some beautiful islands out there, right? Check out this underwater sea volcano that I talk about quite often. Is areas off to the southeast of the island right here. There's a lot more. This is Lohi Seamount area right there, right? Still kind of connected though, right? You think, well, the ocean drops off right there at the state line or the island line right there, and there's just nothing but ocean. But if you look at the bigger picture, this is a major island chain in the making. Hawaii Islands is, and there's multiple volcanoes out there on the seafloor that are going to continue to create islands out here. If you take a look up here to the northwest, this island chain of the Hawaiian island chain continues all the way up here to the north into the Aleutian Islands. So one day, I don't know when, probably millions of years down the road, we're going to be looking at the beautiful islands of the Aleutian Hawaiian island chain, right? All the way up here from the tip of the Aleutian Islands, kind of a little bit further to the west. Maybe you can get up to Russia somehow someday once these all connect. But no doubt they're underwater right now. A couple of them are peeking their heads above the water. In fact, a couple of these islands have some airports on them. Eastern Island, Sand Island out there, has a beautiful view from this Google Earth area. Looks like some beautiful waters out there as well. I'd love to visit that region. There's the earthquake. Not for sure who lives there, if there's any houses or whatnot. Looks like potentially there is some facilities and whatnot there, or used to be. The quality on this one is not all that great for some reason. When was this taken? Back in 2019. So maybe there's a reason why it's just kind of, not the best quality, because maybe nobody needs to know what's going on out there. But it is beautiful nonetheless. There's another island, Green Island. You can see the elevation there in the ocean floor. Of course, these will continue to grow, potentially, creating that massive island chain there. Green Island, like I mentioned, has an airport out there as well. Some beautiful blue water. Just imagine being out there by yourself. Holy moly, I would love it. I guess as long as we got internet out there, I think that would be super duper fine. And I'm sure if it comes to tsunamis, this is not the place you want to be, though. There's really no escaping it. You'd have to build a massive structure to, above the ground to get away from the incoming tidal waters. So aside from the airport out there, it doesn't look like there's a whole bunch. Some buildings out there, but looks like, again, like the other one, the quality on it is not all that great, even from the Google Earth view. Anyway, I kind of just wanted to point that out, that little fun fact there. One day, millions of years down the road, maybe in a couple lifetimes, we'll see that island chain connect there. But for right now, it's pretty quiet. And activity along the western part of the Pacific Ring of Fire is relatively quiet as well. Sorry, I'm zooming in pretty quickly there. Even down here along the Vanuatu area, a little bit quiet. Couple aftershocks still continuing there around the Port Vila area as well. But other than that, no major deep movement in that region, and activity to the north along the Pacific Ring of Fire, relatively quiet as well. So we'll kind of focus our attention over here to the west coast. Kind of seems to play that part there, kind of bouncing back and forth there to the North American plate and off there to the west. But North American plate on the bullseye for the moment. Alrighty, guys. Let's see what else we got here. Let's check out the solar weather data real quick. Geomagnetic storm warning still continuing. Looks like it has picked up a little bit, as I mentioned. Where is the... what the heck? Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. KP index You can see that band of yellow right there, K4 index kicking up a little bit right there. That happened earlier today, so therefore the aurora forecast has been upgraded, to include tonight. And as you can see on the aurora, definitely picking up, ramping up a little bit in intensity. And this, of course, this will ramp up even more as the solar wind that's coming from the coronal hole continues to approach Earth. I can't remember what the speed was. Let's go back and check the speed at the moment, 409, but we should be looking at a lot faster, 500 kms after a while. But right now we're looking at 409 km a second, density at 9.6 protons there. But oh yeah, a couple sunspots popping up there as well. Pretty quiet, but I'm sure this will kick up as we head into solar maximum. And of course, solar maximum brings with it changes in weather and also potentially changes in earthquake activity. We'll have to see how that plays out here in a couple years. But I would really love to see this ramp up pretty soon. Really soon. Because a little bitty speck like that is not that not that interesting, but we'll get there. We'll definitely get there. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here, check out the tremor map here real quick. I don't think it's been updated. Nope. Today it has not been updated. As far as volcanic seismic activity at Mount Rainier, looks like maybe a little small earthquake or two within the last 2 hours. And as far as the seismic network here goes, of course, not found. I'm not going to wait around all day. Of course, they got this thing squashed as heck. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good day. It's a beautiful day, beautiful night to barbecue. Enjoy the evening. Just play it safe out there. It is Friday night. A lot of the crazies come out at night. Not saying everyone's crazy that comes out Friday night, but it seems that is just the case. It happens a lot. And yeah, have a good night, folks. Stay safe out there.